Hey everyone, this is Elenbaas from Nightlight Astrology. Today we are going to take a look at the full moon that is forming in the sign of Sagittarius with its host Jupiter newly exalted in the sign of Cancer. I think this is an auspicious full moon, but we do have to remember that this full moon is taking place while host Jupiter is moving into a square with Saturn and Neptune. So we're going to try to capture some of that, its archetypal meaning, and what we might notice today during the full moon, as well as what the rest of the week promises coming off from the full moon. That's our agenda for today. Before we get into it, remember to like and subscribe. As always, it really helps our channel to grow. It's my hope that this is a place for people's daily spiritual practice of astrology to evolve and take shape and be nurtured. If that's you and you listen regularly, but you're not yet subscribed, please consider hitting the subscribe button so that we can grow our work and community. You can find transcripts of any of these daily talks on my website, which is nightlightastrology.com. When you are over there, a couple of promotions today. The first is the free talks that are coming up. So if you go to the events page, click on in-person events, you'll see that we have a summer solstice gathering taking place on June 21st from 6 to 8:30 p.m. The Grapevine Collective in the new City Center in Minneapolis. We're going to be gathering to celebrate the solstice, do a little meditating and sharing. And it's free. Just got to RSVP so we know you're coming. Hope to see you there. If you go to the speaker series talks, you will see that our speaker series for the month of June is underway. We have one last talk coming up this weekend with Krista Hamilton on the Decans. These are all free. We pay our speakers nicely because of the Kickstarter campaign success, and then we make these free for the community. If you register, you'll get the link to attend live. If you can't attend live, you will get the replay, the recording link later. Also go to Live Talks. You'll see that my monthly webinar is coming up June 19th, Uranus and Gemini trine Pluto and Aquarius. When new objects appear in the sky, I'm really excited to be talking about another major outer planetary configuration in a little bit more depth. So if you want to come join that one, you can register. Can't attend the live webinar. Of course, you do get the recording. Then we have the first year course coming up, Ancient Astrology for the Modern Mystic. In this program, you're going to learn all that you need to know to get started with ancient Hellenistic astrology and reading natal charts. This is a great program for people who really want to deepen and solidify your understanding of astrology. Study in a lineage that has 15 years worth of students going through it at this point, a great staff and community to participate in. Everything in the program is available to you to take at your own pace offline, or you can attend the live classes either way. At the bottom, you'll find enrollment options. Be sure to check out the need-based tuition option. We've got just another week left of registration availability, so this is coming down to the wire now. If you want to join us, though, and use that need-based tuition, it's there for you so that there is kind of a sliding scale that you can work with to make sure that you're not priced out if you're on a fixed or limited income, whatever your financial situation is. If that will help make it feasible, work within your budget, we're happy to make sure that something as sacred as this topic is not exclusive, that it's available and accessible to everyone. So on that note, I hope to see you soon in classes. It'll be tomorrow or the next day that I'll be doing a horary demo as well. Our horary class also starts in June, or year 2 class starts in June. We typically want people who've already been enrolled in our first year program before they join year 2. So you don't see me advertising that one a lot, but the horary class is really appropriate for anyone who has a background in traditional astrology already. So I will be doing a little demo and telling you more about the horary course Thursday or Friday. Anyway, all right, on that note, let's take a look at this full moon. And I'm going to give you 5 things to watch for today, given the unique rulership of this full moon by Jupiter, newly exalted Jupiter in Cancer. So here is the formation. Actually, I should back this up by just some hours. So we get the moon at about 20 degrees of Sagittarius pretty early Wednesday morning. So last night into this morning, the full moon has come through. And so we're now kind of in the wake of that full moon effect here as you're probably listening Wednesday morning. But that full moon is ruled, taking place in Sagittarius, which means it is ruled by Jupiter, who is now exalted. So we get the first full moon who's hosted by this newly exalted Jupiter. That's exciting and should give us some things to consider. However, by the end of this week, and what we're going to be talking about Thursday and Friday to close out the week, is the fact that by Sunday, we also will see Jupiter squaring Saturn. So if I go forward just a few more days, this is Sunday, June 15th, you'll notice that Jupiter is now in an exact square with Saturn. And so it isn't it's not really appropriate to just say, oh, yeah, well, there's a full moon in Sagittarius ruled by an exalted Jupiter, so the confetti starts to fall from the sky and it's just the most auspicious thing ever. No, this is a full moon ruled by a Jupiter that is immediately in an applying close square with Saturn. And so truly, this is a full moon that reflects the Jupiter-Saturn square. That's, I think, a more well-rounded way of looking at it rather than just focusing on the nice dignity of Jupiter, which is great, but there's a little bit more to the story. So on that note, what I'd like to do now is give you 5 things to watch for. Now, these 5 things I would say are things to watch for not just today, maybe you noticed them even yesterday forming a little bit as the full moon was coming through, but also as the week goes on between now and Sunday as Jupiter and Saturn reach their square, and then as this lunar cycle closes down over the next 2 weeks. These are things to watch for between now and the end of this lunation cycle. Our next new moon is not going to be until about June 25th. And so, as you're listening to this on the 11th today, again, about 2 weeks worth of the effects of this full moon sort of playing out as the lunation cycle closes down and as Jupiter, the host of this full moon, squares Saturn and then slowly starts to separate from that square, but also will square Neptune right away. So here are 5 things to watch for, and we're going to talk more about the Jupiter-Saturn square in greater depth and its history and its cycle, because this is the 3rd square that Jupiter has made to Saturn. So we're going to look at that more tomorrow and try to give some context and some further thoughts about how they might, those 2 planets might be showing up in your life. But the number one thing to note on my list, the broadest thing I could say about a full moon in Sagittarius, a Jupiter-ruled sign, with Jupiter exalted in Cancer, squaring Saturn in Aries, is that this is a moment that offers us the opportunity to have a kind of profound philosophical realization or a moment of greater or deeper reflection upon our philosophical sense of direction or purpose in life. The reason for this is that whenever Jupiter and Saturn get into squares with each other, the conjunction, the square, the opposition, the closing square, the conjunction, that synodic cycle between the 2 planets reflects the ongoing dialogue on the level of the soul with source or with higher self. I don't think it's woo-woo to say that at all. If you believe in that kind of stuff, then I would say that it's been noted for thousands of years that Jupiter-Saturn dynamics reflect our unfolding or evolving sense of life's meaning and purpose, personally, socially, collectively, in a deeper metaphysical sense. We draw closer to the source of that way or that intelligence. I was speaking about this with Jupiter in Cancer last week. This philosophical realization or moment of reflection is natural to Jupiter squares to Saturn, and the full moon is bringing that sense of a moment of realization or reflection, crystallized insights about where you've been and why you've been going on the path that you've been going on. It brings them all into this place of kind of refinement and even I think the word crystallization works. So that's the first thing that I would watch for, is between now and not just now, but the next 2 weeks, watch as there is maybe an evolving, deepening understanding of something, a realization about something. And sometimes it's felt and instinctual. It's not like a literal intellectual thing you could put into a paragraph logically. It's just a sense of the changing of a season in life and the sense that you're almost like your compass is orienting itself in a different or new way. And sometimes that's a very subtle thing to track. It exists on a level of intuition or instinct. But I would also say that the opportunity to come to some intellectual, philosophical conclusions or to refine your understanding of something is one of the promises of this full moon. Number 2 would be a felt change of direction. And this speaks to that level of instinct that I've been mentioning with Jupiter in Cancer. Sometimes we can just feel that the seasons of time are changing. This is a year, in fact, that reflects a significant change in the collective, in the zeitgeist, you might even say. The winds of history are blowing in a slightly different way. There's a sense of change in the air, and you can feel it. It makes your skin tingle, so to speak. That felt sense that things are changing, my direction, my understanding, my purpose, the winds of history, or the winds of change within an organization I belong to, or the workplace, or within a relationship. There's It's like when the weather vane like switches directions. It's been blowing in one way and then it blows in another way. I feel there's a movie that has that in it. What movie is that? I can't remember. Anyway, so watch for a philosophical realization, a philosophical moment of reflection, or a felt sense of the changing of direction or purpose, a felt sense that time and a season of life is shifting. That would be very appropriate for all of the transits happening in June, what to speak of the Jupiter-Saturn square that this full moon is ruled by. Number 3 would be new resources or connections. Sometimes Jupiter signifies the abundance provided to us through meaningful allies, groups, connections, sometimes benefactors or people who act as aids or resources in the development of our ambitions or our aspirations, our hopes, wishes, and dreams. Jupiter can provide a lot for us in the way of resources that are useful, that give us a sense that the wind is at our back cosmically. So I like this full moon as a potential time of changing who we receive resources from, or how we gather resources, or where the streams of support are coming from. A shift in how we receive support, where we receive it from, what it means to us, and maybe also some process of discernment or differentiation. I can feel supported by this source, but I don't think this is quite the right source to be allied with any longer. Those kinds of changes, and shifts of direction with respect to who or what we align ourselves with can also be really a nice part of the Jupiter-ruled full moon with Jupiter squaring Saturn. Now, I think that sometimes we go through periods where we feel lost or uncertain or unsure, or we just don't have a clear sense of where we're going. These little dark nights of the soul, or periods along our lifeline that are covered in fog, or it's like we can't see the stars above on the ocean to navigate our ship by. What I like about Jupiter-Saturn squares is that even if we're in the midst of some kind of changing of perspective in life, that what often comes with the crucible of a Jupiter-Saturn square is the felt sense that things are changing as I'm recommitting to a path or finding a new one. That through the kind of crucible of Jupiter square Saturn, we renew our sense that life, my life, the existence of life itself, has some inherent purpose, has some meaning, has some magical way behind it. And so if you've lost that way, this is a great period of time that while it can challenge and intensify the question of purpose and direction and sometimes be very overwhelming, is there really a purpose? Is there really some larger plan? These are periods of time that can renew our sense of faith if we've lost it. So consider that this is maybe a little bit of a coming back to something, a return. I think of the 24th hexagram of the I Ching, which is called return, and it shows one solid line of yang at the bottom and all the rest yin lines. And that moment was thought to be corresponded to something like the winter solstice, where the light starts returning. This is a transit, the full moon in Sagittarius, with that sense of light emerging from out of the darkness of winter right prior to the winter solstice, and then Jupiter in the opposite sign of the summer solstice, right? Those little details can give us a sense that we are emerging from a night journey of some kind, and the dawn is coming back. Finally, it's very normal when Jupiter squares Saturn to reach the limits of a paradigm, a belief structure, or any other kind of structure or system in our life that is supposed to provide coherence and unity and direction, And so a full moon like this with Jupiter squaring Saturn, I love that Jupiter is exalted. However, the square to a fallen Saturn can suggest that there's a fertile energy to Jupiter in Cancer, but it might be that we're building a new structures, new paradigms out of the ashes. That Jupiter's square to Saturn can imply the death of a paradigm or a belief, or reaching the limits of its usefulness or effectiveness or appropriateness somehow. Reaching that limit, though, with a very fertile Jupiter, a Jupiter in Cancer, a moon in Sagittarius at the full moon, makes me feel like the reconstruction can begin. We've reached the limits of something. We're at a crossroads. Maybe we've reached the full potential of a path that we've been on, and it's just not going to do it any longer. And so a new way of life has to start coming from this difficult crossroads. But reaching the limits of something, reaching the limits of the effectiveness or usefulness, that's another way of thinking about it. So these are all pretty interconnected ideas that I wanted us to work with today around this full moon. They are all, I think, one of the great benefits of a full moon in Sag with Jupiter exalted in Cancer is just the blessings, the benefits, the support, the fertility, the kind of uplifting energy of a Jupiter-ruled full moon with a really nicely dignified Jupiter. But we do have to bring in that applying square to Saturn, which is coming through in just days after the full moon. We're going to talk more about Jupiter-Saturn tomorrow. I just wanted to hit on the full moon a little bit today. I'd love to hear any stories that you have to share about how this full moon is today or tomorrow. Come back, tell us your story in the chat. I'd love to hear from you guys. After I sign off, there is an informational video here about the upcoming Year 1 program. This is a fantastic time to begin studying astrology in depth with greater focus and purpose. We've got great elections this month, an exalted Jupiter. We've got Uranus about to move into Gemini and trine Pluto in Aquarius. These are fantastic signatures for the development of this ancient spiritual technology and bringing it into your life in a more meaningful way. So anyway, I hope that you will join us. Listen after I sign off for more about the Year 1 course, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye, everyone. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking around. I'm excited to tell you about our upcoming program, Ancient Astrology for the Modern Mystic. It is our first-year course in Hellenistic astrology that begins at the end of June. June 22nd is our starting date. I'm going to take you over to the course page to tell you more about the program and what you will learn while you are in it. So here we go over to the Nightlight Astrology website. You can find this at nightlightastrology.com. Click on the courses tab, go to the first year course. Now this program is ideal for people who maybe have a little bit of background already in astrology. Maybe you've done some studying on your own independently, taken some courses or webinars and workshops, but you're looking to deepen your understanding of astrology. And maybe Hellenistic astrology in particular has been calling to you. I'll tell you more about what Hellenistic astrology is in a minute, but on the first year course page, you're going to find everything that the course includes. I want to make the structure of the course clear first, and then at the end, I'm going to tell you 5 reasons that I think anyone might have for studying astrology, and you can see if you check any of those boxes. First of all, there are 30 classes on the year. It's just a little under a year-long program with 30 webinars. Every webinar is 2 to 3 hours long, including a lively Q&A and conversational section after we finished our lesson for the day. Each of those lessons I lead personally through live webinars, so you can attend those live. If you want to follow along at your own pace in your own time, on your own schedule, you can always look at the recordings and take those in. And I'm going to show you what the class page looks like so you can see how you can interact with the course as uniquely and creatively as you want to. But you can either attend the live webinars or listen to the recordings or audio or video. In between major units of study within those 30 classes, we have separate classes outside of the 30 classes that are essentially tutoring sessions led by our staff, our course directors. We have 3 of them for our first year program, 3 tutors that help me guide every single class you're in and lead study sessions, and are also staffing an interactive group forum discussion where you can ask questions, look at charts, practice what you're learning with all of your classmates and with tutors there to help you. They'll always answer questions within a business day. So it's a really well-staffed, well-structured program. In between those major units of study and the breakout sessions, we also have guest speakers that come in throughout the year that you get free access to. The recordings are archived for you in your class folders. So you're getting people within our curriculum. And you're also getting to visit with some astrologers who are outside of the Nightlight School, but we really admire their work, and so we bring them in. You also have a ton of bonus material. With every lesson, we have recommended quizzes, study guides, optional reading. And that allows people who are really, really, intense, deep, like studious types to go as far as you want to with the material, while other people who are maybe, content to take things in at, just kind of taking in the classes, that's there for you too. So you can kind of go as deeply as you want to. The class if as the year goes on, goes through major units of study in ancient Hellenistic astrology. So if you're not familiar with ancient Hellenistic astrology, this is the earliest form of horoscopic astrology. This is where the astrology that you've probably learned today comes from originally. And that makes some of its features unique. Like, for example, ancient astrologers utilized whole sign houses. We study why they used whole sign houses, how they used them, and we study the why behind really everything: houses, signs, planets, aspects, dignities, essential and accidental dignities, delineation approaches. How do you read and predict within a natal chart? All of those theoretical areas of astrology we not only learn how to do, but we learn the why behind it. And this is what I think people find most empowering about the course, is that ancient astrology really helps to give you the rationale for everything so that you have the insight available to go off script. What I mean by that is, like, let's say you're learning about a sign, Aries or Taurus or a Gemini, something like that. Ancient astrology won't just give you a list of the adjectives or keywords or descriptions of, say, a sign or a planet. It will give you an underlying philosophical explanation that then allows you to extrapolate from it the kinds of lists that you read in textbooks, which means you'll have an understanding of why everything on a list in a textbook is there in the first place. And you'll also have the insight and creativity available to add things to the list that are a part of your own unique intuition and contribution to astrology. And this is what ancient astrologers wanted students of astrology to learn: the why behind everything. So this is a class where, even though you're seeing things like planet signs, houses, dignities, aspects, and you're like, oh, I've already learned about those things. Not if you haven't studied Hellenistic astrology. I don't mean to sound condescending, but like, truly, most people's experience coming through this program is, wow, I had no idea all that I didn't know about the roots of everything that I've understood thus far about astrology. So it really is about digging into the philosophical core of why we do everything. And then you have greater intuitive and creative capacity as an astrological craftsman or craftswoman. So anyway, that's a brief explanation of why I think Hellenistic astrology is important. Not to mention that ancient astrology was really focused on our ability to accurately describe and predict things in the realm of karma, fate, and destiny, whereas modern astrology's hallmark and strength is psychological depth. And so when you put the two together in our program, which is why it's called Ancient Astrology for the Modern Mystic, I think you have something really special. So on that note, you can see everything that we cover here. So there's a video with some of our alumni you can watch. Everything is there on the page. Now, there are 5 reasons that I want to touch on briefly before I tell you about your payment options and need-based tuition. These are 5 reasons to study astrology that if you mark any of these boxes, especially if you mark several of them, then I think it's a good indication that you might be ideal for this program, might be an ideal fit. So the first one is, if you find that astrology has become a part of your daily, weekly, monthly, yearly spiritual practice, it is a part of how you lead an inner life, then there is nothing more empowering than deepening your connection to that language, because that puts you more in the driver's seat. It's always good to have astrologers that you rely on, teachers that you listen to, get a little objective perspective, especially when you're looking at your own chart through a reading. But there's really nothing more empowering than learning to speak the language at a deeper level for yourself. And if that calls to you, if you want to understand things and be able to speak more confidently and clearly about this sacred language that you love, and this is a great reason to take a structured program. Number 2 is that you feel called to read charts for people. Look, not everyone who takes our programs is on a professional track, but we have 4 years worth of professional training programs at Nightlight that will prepare you to read professionally for others if that's the path that you're on. Maybe you don't even know if you're on that path. That's fine too. Many people take our programs just for the sake of their own personal enrichment, and again, to be kind of more in the driver's seat with respect to your astrological journey. You have more of an understanding. You can be more confident in reading symbols and experiencing transits with your own understanding that you've cultivated. But sometimes people want to read for other people. This will definitely set you up to do that. We have a certification track where you can take exams at the end of every year. They're optional. You don't have to if you're not on that level of interest. Number 3, you have done a lot of self-study. You've heard things from here and there, but you're looking to bring it all together. It is overwhelming to study astrology on your own. So if you want organization, structure, and coherence, what you're getting in this program is going on 15 years of training astrologers, 15 years of developing curriculum that has in mind the overwhelm that many people experience. And this program is structured year 1, year 2, year 3, however far you want to go with our curriculum, to give you an organized, structured, coherent way of understanding the history and language of astrology from both ancient times to modern times, in all of the vastness that the field includes. And also, as we go, we want to give you the confidence that you are a part now of an astrological lineage. Astrology has always been practitioner based. Coming through Nightlight, you are going to have the opportunity to feel aligned with a lineage. If you like my work, if you feel aligned with the way I speak the language, then this might be a good reason to come study with us. Now, if you're seeking the why behind things, if you're like, yeah, that's interesting, I get it, I understand, but why? Why signs? What's the difference between a sign and a house? Why do they ever come up with a sign and a house? What's the distinction philosophically? Why does Mars represent this? Why does Mars in this sign represent that? If you are someone who feels empowered by understanding the why behind things, you are going to love this program, because that's how I am as a teacher. That's how I am as a person. And that's what this program is really all about. Number 5, you are looking for astrological community. Look, I think Nightlight is unique in terms of the kind of warmth, acceptance, safety, and inclusiveness that our community includes intellectually, spiritually. We are really pride ourselves on being a peaceful kind of family. I'm a Cancer, right? So it's kind of a family-oriented environment. So anyway, I will end it there. If you check any of those boxes, you may want to consider studying with us. Now, I'm going to take you over to 2 things. I want to show you the dashboard. So here is the Thinkific page. You're going to join this, and on your dashboard, you're going to find any courses that you've enrolled in at Nightlight, and there are many, so you may end up in being involved in multiple courses, and you'll find that they're all there on your dashboard. Click on one of them, and it will take you in. You're going to find that on the left-hand side, there's orientation instructions, course information, class links, and calendar, all the technical stuff you need to know when you join the course. And then you're going to find that when you go through the lessons, that the lesson includes the video, the audio, the slides, the transcripts, the Q&A box text if you couldn't make it live and see what people were talking about, flashcards, homework, a bonus PDF with all sorts of additional recommended reading, bonus videos, additional video links for bonus material. So every single time that you want to visit something within the course, everything is nicely organized. So you can see here, I'm going to pause this before it starts going, but you can embed the video right there. It's embedded and you can watch it. And then if you wanted to, you could also, right here, you could also download the video and watch it on your own device. And that's same for the audio as well. And then as you go, you'll see all of the lessons are laid out. The study sessions are also recorded if you can't make those live. So everything is nicely arranged on the website for you. And that makes it a course that if you wanted to take 3 years to accomplish, you could take 3 years to accomplish. If you want to take it for the sake of getting certified, you have the full year plus an additional year to take the exam. So, 2 years total that we give people if you're on a professional track. But most people complete the program in a year. And a lot of people, over 50% of our students, go on to our year 2 and then our year 3 and horary programs as well. Now, final thing I'm going to show you is right here. You're going to find here is the enrollment options at the bottom of the first year course page. Again, this is at nightlightastrology.com, and you're going to click on the first year course, go to the bottom. The early bird payment saves you several $100s off the cost of the course. That's available till May 15th. Early bird installment plan saves you on the installment plan, regular cost of the course. That's also only available until May 15th. And then need-based tuition. All of our programs include a need-based option where we give you a sliding scale and we say, you pick your monthly tuition number within this sliding scale, which is greatly reduced off the normal tuition price. That is for people who are on a fixed or limited income, receiving disabilities, single mom, whatever the case might be. We want to make sure that nobody's priced out of studying astrology. So you don't have to feel any shame. If that is you, if you need help, if you want to take this, but you need to make it work within a tight budget, we get it. Times are tough right now. We don't think people should be priced out of studying a sacred subject like astrology. So we've been offering need-based pricing for 15 years. Nightlight is a donation-based school. It started that way. We have a sliding scale, so it's kind of like donation. You get to choose your rate anyhow. So if that's something that will help you, please use it. Thank you for listening to this. I hope it gave you a really deep and comprehensive introduction to what the course is all about and why you might find it exciting to come study with us starting at the end of June. So any questions you have about the program as you're visiting the course, email us, info@nightlightastrology.com. We'll be glad to talk about anything that you have questions about. We are here and we have a wonderful staff of people at Nightlight who will be a part of your learning experience and are all glad to help you. All right, that's it. We'll see you again later. Bye.